What Verstappen just did against Russell changes everything. It started with a rumor, a whisper in the paddock. Then came a meeting, quiet, but not quiet enough. Max Verstappen and Toto Wolff talking behind closed doors. A meeting that at first was brushed off as just a chat. But now it's become a storm. And in the middle of that storm stands George Russell. You see, before the summer break, Max Verstappen finally told the world his plans. He's staying at Red Bull through 2026. No sudden retirement, no jumping ship. Max, the four-time world champion, had looked around, curious, maybe Mercedes, maybe a new challenge. But the new 2026 rules are still a mystery. And Verstappen, being smart, decided to stay put at least for now. But the real story is what happened before he said he was staying. Because Toto Wolff didn't just sit and wait. He tried to sign Max Verstappen. Yes, the same Toto Wolff who's always said he believes in George Russell and Kimi Antonelli for the future. Still, he couldn't ignore the chance. A chance to bring in Max, the best, the prize, the one driver who could change everything. We will soon have the announcement of George's renewal, Toto told La Gazzetta dello Sport. I've always said I'm happy with my team, but suddenly Max's future became uncertain, so we spoke to him too. And then came the words that shook the Mercedes garage. I've always been very clear with George. 90% of the time he would have stayed with us, but I needed to speak to Verstappen too. That 10%, that tiny window, it could have ended George Russell's future at Mercedes. Because if Max had said yes, it wouldn't have been Antonelli leaving. No, it would have been George, and he knows it. Now, picture this. You're George Russell. You've had a great season, 6 podiums, a win in Canada, pole positions. You've outpaced everyone not in a McLaren, and yet your boss pauses your contract just in case Max becomes available. Does that make you feel like a top driver or a backup plan? Toto didn't hide it. If Max wanted in, George was out. Simple, ruthless. And Russell, he felt that. But he's smart. He hasn't exploded in the media. No fiery interviews. Just calm confidence and a few carefully chosen words. I'm confident I'll be in F1 in 2026 because your only guarantee is how fast you go, Russell said. And he's been fast. Still, he hasn't signed the renewal. Not yet. Toto says it's coming soon. But now the question is, what kind of contract will George accept? Will it be long-term, showing full trust for Mercedes, or just a short deal, a one-year agreement that lets him escape if something better comes up? Because guess what? Aston Martin Honda is watching closely. They've already asked about Russell's availability for 2026. And if they turn out to have the best car under the new rules, George might walk. A short contract would give him that power. Russell isn't hiding this either. The length of the contract, that's something we have to think about, he said. What's in the best interest of both parties? Do Mercedes and I want the same thing. It's a strange moment. The team says they believe in him, but actions speak louder than words. When Max was possibly on the market, Mercedes was ready to drop George without blinking. And then there's Antonelli, just 18 years old, promoted fast, protected, supported. Toto has made it crystal clear he believes in Kimi. Kimi is a huge talent. He's fast. He's intelligent, but he's very young, Wolff said. I said right from the start that he would make mistakes, and we wouldn't have signed him if we hadn't been aware of that. Even when Antonelli's results dipped, no points in Europe until Hungary, Toto stood by him, called it part of the process, a path to becoming a champion. They're even working with his family, trying to create the perfect environment, mentoring him with help from Lewis Hamilton. Yes, Lewis, now at Ferrari, came to visit Kimi after the Spa GP when the rookie was visibly emotional. I think champions recognize other champions, Toto said. And you don't need to read between the lines to know Mercedes is building its future around Kimi Antonelli, not George Russell. And if you're George Russell, do you want to be sitting on a long-term deal when the team might try to shuffle you out again? That's why Russell might play his own game, a one-year deal, full flexibility. Keep Mercedes honest. Keep his options open. Because don't forget, Aston Martin Honda is watching. They've asked, they're interested. They could become the 2026 surprise package, especially with Honda's factory engine behind them. Russell isn't a rookie. He knows the sport moves fast. One moment you're the chosen one, the next you're reading about a secret meeting that nearly ended your future. So here we are. Kimi Antonelli is learning. George Russell is waiting. Max Verstappen is watching. And Toto Wolff, he's walking a tightrope. On one side, the loyal soldier Russell. Fast, reliable, polished, already delivering. On the other, the future Antonelli. Young, raw, emotional, but full of promise. And floating above them all, the shadow of Verstappen. It's a classic Formula One power play. Everyone smiling in public. Everyone plotting behind the scenes. So what happens now? We wait for Russell's contract renewal, for Antonelli's next performance, for the next sign that Max might, just might, change his mind. Because this story isn't over. If Mercedes struggles in 2026 and Red Bull dominates again, maybe nothing changes. But if the grid flips upside down, if the new rules blow open the championship fight, then Mercedes could try again. And next time, Verstappen might not say no. The real question, will George Russell be ready or already gone? So what do you think? Was that Max Toto meeting just a casual chat? Or was it a warning shot, one that Russell can't ignore? Let us know in the comments, because in F1, the truth always leaks eventually.